TV.
Aloha, my name is Ashley Kirkowitz. I'm council member for District 4. I'm also joined with council member Aaron Chung, District 2, and we are here to present a certificate of recognition to Ed. You know, all of our seniors have endured so much over the last couple of years because of COVID, but we really felt after reading this article in the paper about him, you are such an exceptional young man, and we just wanted to recognize all of your hard work, your perseverance, and just let you know how much we as a council and island community are just so proud of you. I was really tearing up as I read about what you've overcome and your vision and your dreams are. And if I could just share anything, it's that be like the hala tree. The hala tree has these roots that puka through rock to get to water. Be steadfast in your dreams. Don't let anything get in the way of you accomplishing them. So just wanted to meet you and let you know that we are huge fans of yours and present you with this certificate of recognition.
Congratulations, first of all.
Thank you so much.
You've been in the local newspaper, West Hawaii Today, the Hawaii Tribune Herald. So many viewers know about your story, but for those who don't, give me a rundown of, first of all, you're a graduate of 2 institutions here on the Big Island. What are those 2?
Yeah, so I graduated from Hilo High School as well as Hawaii Community College.
Now, Hilo High School, you were one of 22 valedictorians. When does that come out? When do you find out that you've achieved that honor?
So they usually tell us towards the end of 3rd quarter. So then 4th quarter doesn't really matter as much because then they should be finalizing the GPAs by then.
I want to ask you, when did you say to yourself, you know what, this is a possibility. I can do both. I can graduate from high school and I can get a liberal arts degree from Hawaii Community College. When did you say to yourself, I can do this. This is going to be achievable. You remember that moment?
So I think it was somewhere during my sophomore year, actually. Me and my brother were sitting in the living room. We were just watching TV, and he pulls up an article. And it was about this teenager that graduated from Waipahu, I believe.
Okay.
And she did the same thing. So when I saw her do that, then I just knew I could do it. And I give all the credit to my brother. He actually pushed me to do it. He was like, you're doing this.
Your family is ones who believe in themselves and say, hey, I can do it. So, I mean, I credit your mom and dad for doing quite a great job of raising you and giving you that ability to persevere even when things don't look too good. When they came, I would imagine they've interviewed your mom and dad, but there were some troubling times initially, and where they even thought about maybe moving back to Micronesia.
Yeah, they explained to me how they have had to leave their homeland at a relatively young age. They had to leave everything they knew behind. They left their parents behind, and it was all to give themselves and us an opportunity to give us opportunities that they didn't have. And so when they first came here, they said they had trouble getting used to a whole new environment because they didn't know anything at all. They were fresh out of Truk Micronesia. So for them, I think they had the hardest time. They had a more difficult time than us, because they're the ones that had to come and build a foundation for their family. But for us, they kind of provided what we needed. For them, they started from scratch. So.
When we look again back to Hawaii Community College, the liberal arts degree that you went after, you're going to school, high school, yet you're pouring yourself some additional work to do.
I think for me personally, it wasn't too difficult because I'm able to balance like what I need to do. I was able to give myself the mindset that if I have to do this on a certain day, then I would do it. And I just took it a day at a time. So for me, I just took things slowly. So at the back of my mind, I've always thought about my parents. So I don't want to waste the opportunity they gave us. Like, I don't want it to go to waste. They gave up their lives for basically for us to have a better life. So everything I do is for them.
Fantastic, and as it should be. Okay, so congratulations again on that big accomplishment, but boy, you've got on your horizon some adventures that are beyond imagination. You've only been to Oahu, as far as that goes, flown to Oahu and back, but this is your first time to the mainland, and you're going to one of the largest city on the face of the planet, New York City, a city of raw energy, a lot of ideas, a lot of creativeness, a lot of resiliency. That's a city that's been through a lot, but yet picks itself up and continues onward. When you go to Columbia, you're going to be on campus or off campus where you're living?
I'll be living in a John Jay dorm. It's a dorm for first years.
First year?
Yeah.
Okay. And again, your first year, is that a full number? How many hours are you taking on your first semester there?
So I'll be taking 18 credits worth of classes.
And again, those are just preliminary ones that you have to take? Or this is all geared towards your medical aspirations?
Yeah, these are the core classes, so I have to take them before I start taking my major classes.
Okay, and then we did a little research beforehand, but you've taken a virtual tour these days. You're able to do that of the place you're going to be living, right? And the area all around it is such. So what's one of the first things you're thinking about when you get to New York City and, okay, here's where I'm going to be living for the next couple of years? Anything in your mind that you want to go do and see there when you're in New York City?
I've always wanted to see Times Square. That's like
number one.
Yeah, number one. Also the Rockefeller tree.
Okay.
I've heard a lot about that. Madison Square Garden. I like watching basketball, so.
Okay, well, yeah, you're going to be near the Mecca, as they call it there, of basketball. Again, when we're looking at it, you've mentioned your aspirations in the medical field, yet at the same time, you've mentioned that it's not really a super passion, but you having your idea to be an inspiration to other individuals of Micronesian descent. Give me the thinking behind that.
So I said medicine is not really my passion. Of course, I want to open a medical facility, but that stems from my passion, which is representing underrepresented communities, showing other people like me that you can do whatever you want in life. And I think success doesn't really care about where you're from. I truly believe that success depends on your hard work, dedication, commitment. And so ethnicity shouldn't be a factor in what you do in your life. You are what you make of yourself.
Very good, well said, well said. When you talked about your medical aspirations as well, you're going to the top rung as far as you're looking to be a surgeon as well. Yeah. That is a very intensive one, and that's a lot of schooling, so best of luck on that. And again, the ultimate aspirations is one day going back to your home island, so to speak, and opening up a medical facility there. When I say that, you're looking to put together a medical facility, so as we go along in your career, believe you me, we'll be watching, there'll be a lot of people watching. It'll be something where your aspirations are saying, hey, I know this person, I can network with this person, not necessarily at that time, but down the road, so to speak, to help you with these goals that you have in mind, because that's what it's going to take. It's going to take you being able to communicate your goals, your aspirations, your ideas to other individuals and find like-minded people to help you get to those goals. From talking to you, I think you've got all those qualities for sure. When we look at you have the major is going to be medicine. Do you have a minor that you're looking at as well?
I was actually looking at a minor in business, entrepreneurship, because I guess that ties into my biggest goal, which is to open up a facility.
Very good, yeah, you took the words out of my mouth. They go hand in hand. Yeah. You can open a medical facility, but you've got to know how to run it as a business so that you can continue on and serving the community in that way. Let's talk about your brother, Eddie, okay? How much older is he than you?
10 years.
10 years? Yeah. Well, I have something similar in my family too, and I would imagine Eddie had to take care of you on occasion, right? Hey, Ed's coming with you, Eddie, type thing. But you looked at him as an inspiration, correct? Watching him go through everything, and how do I say it? I'm going to use you as an example, good or bad. I'll do that the same way, or I'm not going to do it that way because it didn't turn out that good. Is that what you're looking for from him rather? Those
Yes.
type of.
Yeah, for sure. So he was the first in the family, so he didn't have anyone before him to look up to. So for me, I think I'm very lucky to have him. I can see what he does with his life, and I try to mold myself after him. He's kind of like, I said this before, my moral compass. So everything I do, I try to be like him.
Wow, and now that he's had a couple of children himself, your Uncle Ed now, and now you have an additional one that other individuals are looking to you. Let's see how Uncle Ed does when he goes over to the mainland. So a little more, I'd say tiny bit of pressure as your niece and your nephew there are going to be watching you, of course, your mom and dad. When we talk about Colombia, is that one that you applied to, or is that many you applied to a couple of different ones and Columbia came through for you? What was that?
Yeah, so I applied through QuestBridge. So QuestBridge requires us to apply to a number of different schools, and then you're accepted to the top one on your list. So you rank them in order from 1 to 12. I applied to 8 schools, and Columbia was number 3 on my list. And
Wow.
yeah, so that's the one I got accepted to, so that's the school I'm going to.
Okay, so when you talked about accepted, okay, in the old days, it would be a envelope in your mailbox that you'd have to go and then open it up and see, read the letter. Well, I don't think it was that way this time, right? It was an email, or what was it?
It was an
Were,
email.
were you waiting on that? Were you saying, hey, I applied, I've got this organization working for me? Were you waiting every day looking for an email to come through, or how was that going?
Yeah, so I think it came out December 15th, and so building up to that day, I was very anxious. I couldn't sleep. Like, I kept on thinking about it because that's my future. So it was very important to me to get accepted to one of those schools at least.
And being in Hawaii, we're 6 hours away from East Coast time. So, I mean, you get up in the morning, first thing you do, go check it?
I did. Yeah, I woke up like 8 or 7. I woke up really early to open that email.
All right, I want you to sit there, close your eyes for a second, and remember exactly that morning and your reaction. What was it like?
That's easy. I actually recorded myself doing it. Yeah.
Okay.
So that doesn't take much thinking. So I woke up in the morning, I opened my laptop. I didn't do anything else. I didn't eat. I opened it, logged into the website, and it said view update. There was an update to your application. As soon as I opened it, big letters, congratulations, you've been matched to Columbia University. And you know, I got emotional. I ran out to my parents. They were sitting on the couch. I told them about it, and then they started crying on the couch. And then I got outside, I called my brother because he was at work at the time. I called my brother, told him about it, then he couldn't believe it at first. He's like, are you sure? Is this real? Are you sure you got accepted? And he's like, where? New York. He's like, wow, New York. And then he said he started crying in his courtroom, like he started tearing up. So it was a very big moment for all of us, I think.
Now, you're making it sound very calm and collected. I called my brother and I told him. But I got a feeling there was some yelling on that phone.
Yeah.
Guess what?
Yeah, I did. He must have been startled at first. I was like, guess what? Like,
And then your initial reaction, wow, and then a couple of hours later where it's really setting into you and you get to sit there by yourself thinking, wow, this is really
it
happening.
really happened, yeah. It was surreal. I couldn't believe it because coming from a small town like Hilo, you would never think that you would go out to a big city like New York. Like the transition is going to be a very big one.
And again, this is my own imagination, but I got a feeling you looked at that email quite a few number of times just to make sure.
I did. I read it up and down a couple of times, several times actually. Is this real? Am I really accepted? Is it a real email?
So that was the initial email, and then correspondence starts from there. They start emailing you, this is where you're going to stay and everything else, or how does that all go?
Yeah, it took a while for them to start doing that. They started rolling out emails like, I think 2 months after I got accepted. So I was actually very nervous, like, was it real? Did it actually happen? Because they didn't reach out or anything.
And your mind kind of goes crazy. You're thinking,
Yeah.
somebody's pulling a prank on me. This is what's going on. It's an elaborate prank, but why am I not hearing anything else? So
Yeah, exactly.
your mind, again, plays tricks on you stuff. You found out about the dorm. What was the name of the doorman one more time?
John Jay.
So again, that's somebody who's been very famous from there. Speaking of being very famous, I did some research and looked at the Federated States of Micronesia, and some of the most famous people from the Federated States of Micronesia. most of them are politicians, okay? There's a few Olympian athletes, and then we have one that kind of surprised me. His name is Newman, James H. Newman. He's an astronaut, born there,
wow.
moved to California, grew up in California, was a 4-time astronaut on 4 different space shuttle missions. So again, there's going to be a lot of people following you throughout your years to come to see if you can get yourself on that list of famous people from Micronesia. So, hey, I congratulate you quite a bit. You mentioned too that you're a bit of a sports fan. You're a big basketball player and basketball fan rather. So you're going to be right there where a lot of the action is happening. And I imagine that's going to be something that you're going to delve into, and the fact that here in Hawaii we don't have that kind of thing going on there.
Yeah, for sure. There's NBA games in New York, so I would definitely be going to those. I already told my dad about it. He's like, no, don't go out, it's not safe. But I'm going. I'm gonna go.
Yeah. And again, in the time that we're at here in COVID, your dad just very concerned, right? You're going into where a lot of the craziness is happening and such. But me, as an optimist, they'll tell you around here that I'm one of those that things aren't going to be this way forever and ever. But congratulations to you for doing everything you're doing, especially as we've mentioned that our council members mentioned to you in this time where you're having to go above and beyond what normal people have to do. When I think about that too, it pops in my head, the distance learning. Was that something that affected you one way or the other, negative or positive?
It made it difficult for sure, because since there was distance learning, there wasn't teachers standing behind you all the time to remind you to do your work. So then we had students everywhere had to pull their own will together. They had to want to work hard for themselves without being reminded. So I guess, yeah, it made it harder for me. Like sometimes, I'll be honest, I would wake up in the morning and I would want to go straight back to sleep.
Well, you're just like any other student out there, the very same thing. And again, it goes back to how valuable those teachers are. Not only do they keep you in line, so to speak, but they have to put the plans together, what they're going to be teaching. It all goes into helping those individuals who are going to be something later on. When I speak of teachers, is there one teacher in particular that comes to mind throughout your high school, and for that matter, community college education, that stands out to you? This person I like, this person I took their words to heart.
Vivian Chin. She was my English teacher in Hawaii Community College. She really connected to me on a personal level. She wasn't just my teacher, she was a mentor. And she really helped me discover who I was as a person through essays that she made us write. It was like identity essays and all that good stuff. So she was a big, even when I got accepted to Columbia, she sent me a quick email congratulating me and saying that I need to keep in touch with her. She even gave me a few resources. She knows a couple people from Columbia and New York City.
Ed, is there any last words you want to say? You want to thank anyone?
I just want to thank my parents, my brother, my sister, Suzanne, who is all in the mainland. I'd like to thank my sister, Rotsi, my other sister, Sue, and my younger sister, Veronica.
We're talking with Isabella Punch, the mom of Ed and Eddie. But you've got, Ed also mentioned that you've got some daughters as well. Give us the whole names of everybody in the family here.
Susanna, Yeichy, Priscilla, Yeichy, and Veronica.
It's a big family there.
Wale.
Yeah. When we talk about your move from Micronesia to Hawaii, what was the reasoning behind moving?
Merisukon. Highway. Iriwe. Sentire te popusukon.
So her mother sent her out here for school to get a better education out here in Hawaii.
And then you met Papa here in Hawaii? Or was that in Chuk?
Okay.
He came.
She met him here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Hawaii romance. One thing led to another. What was it, 10 years before you, well, no, you had the girls first and then the boys came along. But let me ask you about Eddie and Ed. 10 years apart, the boys though, how did they get along together?
me aviviä togosfögön väärumotfögön mive aviviä tänään.
In her view, we got along, and she could see that we love each other and just
Adisieven.
help each other.
Fantastic, yeah. When did you know that, wow, Eddie, he's a smart boy. I think he's going to go places. Did you know, wow, this is going to be good for him moving to Hawaii?
En siri, iedere siri bereikt. Ja, för resten high school. En siri.
Väriä kukkuruvutset ngaivasirei puervi kopuasset otso puervi sokkosiri kassivirit.
She said from a very young age, me at a very young age, she could tell that I'd go places because in her view, I was different from other kids.
And then when Ed came along, you saw the same things that you saw in Eddie?
Ja, mitsak värynny. Mieta aföri.
Yes.
Prese aseföri vettaa zwingai.
Yes, she said
No what tiitsak narin.
we're the same. Growing up, we didn't do bad things. We stayed at home a lot.
Let me ask you, I talked to Ed earlier and he said when he got the email, what was that morning like? Could you hear him? Was it another room and you could hear him scream or whatever and you knew something was going on that morning, something good was happening?
Colombia,
Putser.
she heard him scream and yell. But
Ne hatsku era kurafete no rumeri vesseurre. Ja seua haerepa.
she could just hear loud commotion from her room. She heard her yelling, and then he came running out to tell them the news, and he ran back into his room.
Back and
Scream-
forth.
Yeah, screaming for joy.
What was that feeling that you knew that he was going to go to a very good school and you didn't have to pay for it?
Äijä vilviet laivi kiekki. Väkirissougirikot. No vässär papa. Konnuure ai papa.
The first thing she done was for her, everything is God. So she gave thanks to God first, and she was just full of joy and excitement.
When Ed was growing up, were there teachers or any other individuals who said to you, this boy has got some things going on. We need to encourage him to do even more. Was that ever happen? Did anybody come to her?
Navereitä nölsensi. Patsa kussuhre palelsensi viitsinna. Meillä on niin.
Yes, there was this one teacher.
Nähdä etänner kyllä. Nossukun.
Always telling her all good,
Constantly.
positive comments.
So he always had good grades from the very start all the way to graduation.
Viitsak vähän. Let's create this city and make the viitsakat kajaa vai?
Would he be upset when he would not get the grade that he wanted?
Eikä. Ja väliteitä ei ole adiopskreiti. Näin. Ja possuomme viitsakat skreiti. Sille.
Sid has always had good grades from when he was young, but if she feels that if he did get bad grades, then he wouldn't be happy with that. He'd be angry with himself.
Yeah. He knew when he was happy and when he was upset. Well, listen, again, I know you're very proud of your entire family. Congratulations again, as I mentioned to Ed. As an island people, we're very happy to see anyone from our island do well. And we're wishing your son Ed and Addie and the rest of your family all the best in the coming future. Thank you very much for being part of our show.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Bet.
Thank you. May I? So I'm going to read this. And I also want to say, before this newspaper article came out, I had heard about it, one of the class valedictorians for Hilo High School, because my daughter graduated the same year as him. And she said, although she doesn't know him really well, always said, no, that guy is special and he's a really, really nice guy. And that's all that counts, as a parent, right? That your daughter would say a person is a nice guy. So anyway, here, this is from the Hawaii County Council. It hereby presents this certificate of recognition to Ed, and I'm hoping I get this correct, Ed Atiria Poch Yeichy.
You got it.
All right, I asked your brother ahead of time. The 2020-2021 school year was unlike any other for graduating seniors, just as Ashley had mentioned. And each of those students is deserving of praise and admiration for both their accomplishments as well as their sacrifices in the face of a global pandemic which greatly limited what should have been a year of wonderful memories. However, there are some whose stories are so compelling that they merit special recognition, and you're one of them. Ed Atiria Poch Yeichy graduated from Hilo High School as one of its 22 valedictorians. His high school commencement came a week after his graduation from Hawaii Community College with an associate's degree in liberal arts, making him the first Hilo High School student to graduate from high school and community college simultaneously as part of the early college program. This fall, Ed, who has never left the state, that's correct?
Yeah,
He's never left the state, will be moving to New York City to attend Columbia University on a 4-year full-ride scholarship to pursue medicine. Ed's family hails from Chuuk, one of the 4 federated states of Micronesia. His parents were part of the first wave of Micronesians to move to the islands in the late 1980s. Ed and his siblings were born in Hawaii and have lived here their whole lives. As such, he has not faced the level of racism and prejudice, which has undeniably been experienced by some first-generation Micronesians. But he has not been oblivious to it either. In a front-page Hawaii Tribune Herald feature article, Ed expressed a mature, moderated perspective on the issues of discrimination towards Micronesians and discrimination in general. And parenthetically, we put, you can't let one person's actions speak for an entire community because that isn't fair to anyone. Those negative stereotypes against his people in Hawaii have provided Ed the motivation to work as hard as he has in school. And it is his hope that by achieving his goals, he can set an example for younger Micronesian students. In that regard, Ed is planning to go to medical school and becoming a surgeon with the expectation of returning to Hilo to serve the community. Ed's ultimate goal is to open his own medical facility in Chuuk, which has only one hospital on its main island of Wedo, yeah. Ed Arteria Poch Yeichy is a role model for all of the people of our island. We congratulate him and his family and look forward to seeing what the future may hold for this very special young man. Presented to you.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.